Mr. Minister, other Deputy and Assistant Minister, Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs, Tourism. Deputy Minister and Assistant Minister for the Minister of Labor, Inspector General, members of the press, other invited guests. Let me just thank the ministry for making the special arrangement for us to appear. I know they have a regular press schedule for government officials, normally on the Thursday, but he was kind enough to accept our request so that we can give some information for the public consumption. In the past week, the media has been riddled with issues surrounding developments at the Bear Mountain Mining Company in Kinjor, Kinjor County, where there were reported disturbances and strike action, some of it violent, with some of our citizens wounded and some even losing their lives. A ministerial committee comprising of the Minister of Justice, Internal Affairs, and Labor on Sunday, March 17, 2024, made an official visit at the troubled mining concession area and met with protesting residents, citizens, and other stakeholders, as well as the Bear Mountain management and employees to amicably resolve the issue being raised by the protesters against the company related to labor-related practices affecting our Decent Work Act of 2015. After the engagement visitation, it was agreed that the Minister of Labor, within 1 week, should constitute a team to proceed to the Bear Mountain concession area to handle, address, and resolve all the labor issues raised by the protesters and workers against the company. Consequently, on Thursday, March 21st, 2024, a 12-man team headed by the Deputy Minister for Manpower and Human Resources, Honorable Stephen S. Cllr, and comprising 7 directors of various relevant departments of the Ministry of Labor, including the Director of Regional Labor Affairs, Trade Union, Social Dialogue, Labor Standards, Industrial Safety and Workmen Compensation, Alien Registration, and the Inspector General, etc., along with Labor Liaison Improvement Officers from our project partner, Zip left Monrovia for the Bear Mountain concession area for a week-long working mission. Their mandate included verifying and report of labor violations, including but not limited to underpayment of workers below minimum wage as required by the Decent Work Act, working in a hazardous and unsafe working environment, workers in critical working places without insurance, foreign employees working without valid work permit, employees working without contracts or benefits, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may know, the Ministry of Labor has 2 prime responsibilities under the executive law: collecting revenues from alien work permit fees and regulating the labor sector of Liberia. Even though there are 2 main regulations which regulate the terms and conditions of employment in Liberia, namely the Decent Work Act of 2015 and the Civil Service Agency Standing Orders. The Decent Work Act provides for the basic conditions of work employment with a view of improving the status of employees in Liberia. Under our laws, all Liberian citizens shall have equal opportunity for work and employment regardless of sex, creed, religion, ethnic background, place of origin, or political affiliation, and all shall be entitled to equal pay for equal work. As Minister of Labor, I intend to ensure that this is upheld. Additionally, holding true to our words during our Senate confirmation and our takeover remarks at the Ministry of Labor, I shall ensure that total adherence to every aspect of the labor laws and regulations, including the Decent Work Act of 2015. I want to emphasize the full enforcement of the labor laws and the provision of regulation number 17, which states that any informal sector employer who employs an alien who work is not in possession of a work permit and is not exempted shall pay a fine of $500 for the employer and $250 for the employee. For the unlawful employee, and Section 4 of the same regulation, which also states that any formal sector employer who employs an alien who is not in possession of work permit and is not exempted shall pay a fine of US $2,000 for the employer and US $1,000 for the unlawful employee. I must again emphasize that while we wish to encourage the involvement of our foreign businesses and investment friends in our labor economy and allow them to explore commercial and trading opportunities, we wish to quickly state that the full compliance of our laws will not be compromised, and that the safety, welfare, and prosperity of our citizens will be our optimal priority. Ours shall be a Liberian first agenda, wherein qualified Liberian citizens will be afforded preferential opportunities as they compete on the job market with our foreign compatriots. We shall ensure that regular, routine, and non-technical job placement and vacancies at major companies and other investment entities in our country will be occupied by qualified Liberians, or may only be occupied by foreigners if and only if there are no competent and qualified Liberians available after advertisement and by authority of the Ministry of Labor. Let me just a few things outside this special statement. That we sent our team, the team went beyond the regular normal duty to make sure that information that was relevant to the ministry and to the government were attended to. This team went in the where they had a deep mine at the Beer Mountain, which is almost, I think, 80 feet below sea level. They were able to go that deep to see some of our Liberians who work on the ground. And it's very, and I will have the deputy minister to give you some first-hand information about that, where you have people working below that level, in that depth, and there's no insurance provision for them. And we talk about, in the past, in our previous remarks sometimes at the ministry, we said, look, people are supposed, our Decent Work Act requires that people should be paid for equal work for equal pay. Now you have people working below that level, and you have Liberians have been paid $350, but their counterparts doing the same job on the ground, who are taught they are receiving $3,500. We think this is something that the company we have to look at very, very carefully. We encourage the representative of our labor organizations that represent those workers during their negotiation for the agreement, normally the collective bargaining agreement. We expect that they will flag these kind of conditions out to protect our Liberian workers, to ensure that if we have Liberian and another person, the foreigners are doing the same job, they are supposed to receive the same pay. You cannot pay a foreigner doing the same job $3,500 and pay Liberian $350. You have a foreigner perhaps working in the same area there, maybe covered by 100% insurance, but the Liberians are not covered by insurance. We will ensure that these things are corrected. We intend to do this in an orderly manner. There is no intention to disrupt the operation of these concession areas, but we'll go and sit with them and tell them what the law says should be done. That's why we started with Beer Mountain, though there was a crisis situation. We intend to cover all of the major concessions in our country. We intend to go to the Western Cluster. We intend to go to the China Union. We intend to go to East Meta. We intend to go to the Southeast, where we got GVL and other concession areas. It's important to also let our people know that maybe we need our colleague at the Ministry of the Bureau of Immigration. They need to step up a little bit, because most of these aliens are brought in from Sierra Leone across the border. The Deputy Minister will let you know that there were several of them who were working without any work permit, because they were brought in from the border and taken straight there on our ground or to the workplace. There are indications that they're selling gas, they are serving gas from gas stations when Liberians are supposed to do that. Some of them are doing other similar jobs that Liberians are supposed to do. We are sounding this as a warning to all of our investors or partners in progress that Liberian laws must be respected. If you have Liberians doing the same job with foreigners, you have to pay them equally. You can't have one receiving less and another receiving more for the same job. No, we will not accept that. And we will take those steps that are necessary. We will not disrupt your operation, but the law will be applied. The law will be applied. So we look forward to all of them. I mean, especially all of our of the industry in the country. Your workers, once your person is a foreigner, the requirement, we will not say you will not work in Liberia, but there are requirements of the law that must be met. You must first have a resident permit, then you must have a work permit to work in Liberia. If you work in Liberia without a work permit, you are violating the law, and there are consequences, and they will be applied. They will be applied. So we're calling upon all of our people, especially the different industries. We're willing to work along with you. This is a new administration. You know, the motto of this rescue team, the president always said, love Liberia, and we love Liberia, we should be able to build Liberia, and we can't do that in isolation. We be prepared to work with everybody, but we have to be able to know that there are laws in our country, and those laws should be respected. So we want to commend, you know, that this trip. We also have among the delegation our Inspector General, and I'd like to just say a few things about the Inspector General before the Deputy Minister comes to just say a few words. There was some media speculation. The Inspector General that was appointed at the Ministry of Labor was rejected by the Minister. That's not the case. We're working with our Inspector General. You know, when you in a new environment, there are period for adjustment. So there was some period of adjustment. I think we now adjusted the way that we have an excellent working relationship with the Inspector General. We'd like to keep it that way, because we as administrator, sometimes you gotta make some hard decisions. Sometimes the decision you make, all the employees will not love it. But sometimes you come hard and then you bring them closer to you and say, look, this is the way I want for the work. So there's no problem with our Inspector General. He's fully integrated in our workplace, and he's working along with all of our ministers and deputy ministers. So we'd like to keep it that way. We have other comments we'd like to make. Basically, is that so the process of getting work permit is simple. Our work permit process at the Ministry of Labor is digitized, such that if you are enrolled for the first time, maybe that's the only time you have a little bit of processes to go through, but once you have the first work permit, you are in our system. If that permit expires, maybe in a year's time, we'll send you an alert to say, look, your work permit has expired, you have to come and renew. So it's not a difficult process. It's not a difficult process. It's better for you to come by yourself and renew their work permit, then to wait for our inspector to come there because they don't compromise. We told them we give them straight mandate. If someone is working without a work permit, you have to bring them to book. So if you want to avoid from being booked, make sure that your workers have their requisite work permit to work in Liberia. In other countries, when we go there, we abide by their law. When you come here, you abide by our law. Our laws in Liberia should be respected, and we intend to uphold that. And as long as you are working along with our laws, there's no reason to fear. We encourage investment into our country. We know that we are a underdeveloped country or a developing country, so our arms are open. That's why the president has been very consistent and committed to all of the things he has said he would do. And we will support him at every level, that the workers' rights must be respected under the rescue mission. That all those who work here too, who bring their investment, will be respected. That's part of the rescue mission. So we look forward to continue working with all of our partners, and we intend to continue to inform the public about what we do at the ministry. And I mean, this is a free invitation. Our offices are open. And if you have issues or questions about some of the operational administration, come and we'll give you an opportunity to have first-hand information. I know, and this is something I think we need to say something about it. Someone has consistently, one radio station has consistently talked about our digital work permit project that was launched during the past administration. They say, oh, the project is not good, the project is not good. But we're running a government. Government is continuity. If the past government signed an agreement, we just took over less than 3 months, we have to be able to respect those agreements. If there are indications that the contract or the project was done fraudulently, they say fraud this year, or we will move right away to deal with it. But if they were done consistent with our law, where the Minister of Justice, the Minister of Finance, and the agency responsible did all of the processes that went through PPCC, they went through international bidding process, we as a government have to be responsible, not to just come and say, okay, because there was another government here, we are canceling or setting aside. No, we don't intend to. So we need to take our time to review whatever document we met on our decks. If required that we take some action, we will not hesitate to do that. But we'll not be moved by somebody's settlement on radio and nothing like that, because we're running a mature government. This is not we're not here like student politics or something like that. So people have to understand that we must work in keeping with law. If something is wrong, when you sign an agreement, normally there is a provision in contract and say, look, the contract is subject to review after 1 year or after 2 years. So you observe all of the things, the mechanism that goes into the operation of that agreement. If after the period for review indicated in the contract misses and there's a need, you sit on the table and talk about it. If you must abandon any official, you do it in keeping with law. When you have a contract executed by government, you don't cancel it by radio. To cancel an agreement, especially a contract signed with government, there is a provision on our constitution that guarantees contract. You don't just jump and cancel a contract. You must have good reason. You must do thorough investigation. So we, as Minister of Labor, have the responsibility to all of the parties involved, and we want to do nothing but the right thing. We want to encourage our people. Our doors are open, and I'd like to just say, anytime you need to talk to us, we will talk to you. We don't want to shy away from talking to the press. We'd like to just make sure that whatever you say about the ministry, about ourselves, about the performances of our ministers must be true and correct. Even though for us as ministers, sometimes we take the brunt. You go and say all manner of things. Sometimes we have to have a thick skin because we work in the public space. But in Liberia, we say, look, you can write, you can talk about people, but there are consequences. You take responsibility. So let's just be cautious. Respect government officials. If somebody went on the radio to say, oh, the government minister is corrupt, he's a disgrace. That's not being, that means the person is just not trained. Because if you are a trained journalist, you will not go on radio and talk about a government official in such a manner. There are ways you can disagree with people in a more respectful manner. You can convey your message in a more respectful manner. And I believe that most of the British social relations and so on, they are very respectful. Some of them are very much disrespectful. We hope that we try to change it as we move forward. It's important that the press, the government work together. We are not enemies. We should be able to work together. The public, our people need all the information from the government. So the only way we can get that information by working together, by keeping our doors open.